Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So today I thought I'd talk about what I do with my acoustic guitar when I go and do these gigs and sessions and stuff. Because most of the time, a lot of gigs I do, I have to play acoustic guitar as well as electric guitar. Now my primary voice is an electric guitar. That's how I most hear my sound. But you know, as a working musician, I end up having to play acoustic guitars as well. Whether they be nylon strings like this one or steel string like my Martin or whatever. That's what I got to do. So what I do is I have a setup on my Fractal and I have three main presets. I always prefer to have a microphone as well, like this. But the last recording I did, they actually had this microphone that clipped onto here and kind of came around like that. And it was by Neumann. Apparently it costs a fortune. John Neal, who was the engineer there on that recording session, that was the Will Martin thing I talked about recently. John Neal engineered it, was the sound mixer for the Lord of the Rings. Part of that crew, bit of a legend really, and he said this was a prototype that Neumann had made, and he had got an early kind of look at it, so it was pretty cool. But it clipped onto here and it kind of came around and did this thing and had this tiny little capsule on the front of it, and he was really happy with the sound. Like, he was like, sound like $1 million on the acoustic guitar. So I like a blend of microphone plus Fractal. And I use the Fractal because I've got it there for my electric anyway, and I don't use a second input. I just move the cable between them, right? Though I probably should set it up with a second input. But I typically do 3 sounds in the Fractal. So I've clean with reverb like this. So you can hear a nice kind of studio quality reverb. Because I don't particularly like acoustic guitar without reverb. To me, it's like I want to hear it in a space. So it's pretty much what it's got. It might have a little bit of compression or something. And then I set up a second scene with a chorus sound on it, which is this. And that's particularly useful if you have to do any kind of 90s type stuff, because the acoustic guitars were really processed. Right, and it sounds really pretty. Now the thing is, I've got the microphone going as well, so the engineer can always decide, well, I don't want the chorus sound, I just want like an acoustic guitar. Normally I'd have the microphone pointing at the 12th fret, by the way, kind of somewhere around here. I find over the sound hole too boomy. Out here it's a bit thin. 12th fret seems to be the sweet spot, and usually sort of this distance, right? But that provides another option that I just need sometimes. And then my third setup, which is always what I have, is just dry. Which actually surprisingly gets used quite a bit. Now I know I said I like reverb on acoustic guitar, and why would the dry one get used quite a bit? Well, because sometimes we're playing in these beautiful spaces that just have reverb anyway, right? So I might have my little Fender FR and using it as a monitor, FR10, and then the room has reverb, so me adding more reverb is not necessary. Do you know what I mean? So although if it's for a recording, then I'll add it anyway, because that gives the engineer some options. But I always ask them, I always speak to the engineer and I go, hey, look, what do you think what do you want with this? And they'll always tell you, they're trying to make the best result. So especially if it's someone I trust. Which, let's be honest, most of the times with engineers, it's a 50-50 thing. Is it going to be good or not? Right? But someone like, say, John Neal, who I mentioned just before, legend. And, that guy knows how to record. He's got monster ears and he knows the equipment, and you're in safe hands, right, when you're kind of dealing with someone like that. So I always make sure I have those 3 presets. And the way I kind of deal with it, if I'm using my FM3, is I just kind of scroll between that and my main preset. If I was using my FM9, then I'd kind of just set it up on another thing. What you could do is actually set up these 3 scenes and maybe have 5 electric scenes. That'd be a good way to do it, actually. Have 5 electric scenes and then these 3 acoustic scenes, and have it so that it switches input. So when you pick up your other guitar, you don't even have to plug it in. That'd be a good idea. Although I do prefer to plug it in, just because it runs the battery down, and I'm a sort of numpty that'll forget to unplug it and after rehearsal, and then you go to do the gig and you're like, oh, no sound. Uh-oh. Now, luckily the battery's accessible here, but don't always have a spare battery on me. Do you know what I mean? But and the thing with acoustic guitar, it's not like playing electric guitar. It really is a different instrument, you know. I've had it quite a bit where there's these classical guitar players that think they can play electric guitar, and they really can't. You hear them try and play electric, and it's like, oh, it's easy, is it? Now, this might be a B note on a classical guitar and on electric guitar, but the way you play it is different, right? So I take that into account, and when I'm setting up sounds and stuff like that, I'm kind of considering that. I like to monitor acoustic guitar pretty loud, and the main reason for that is I want to be able to hear it cleanly so I don't have to play hard. Because the thing with this instrument is as soon as you play hard, it gets ugly. As soon as you play light, it becomes sweet, right? So I like to monitor it pretty loud so that it kind of makes me play lighter and get a sweeter tone out of it. You can always play loud if I need to, like if I need to dig into something, then I'll do that. But anyway, I thought I'd show that about how I deal with acoustic guitar. I don't use a different setup for nylon string or steel string. I just same setup. To me, I'll just let the acoustic guitar itself speak. Right? And I always like to have one that has a pickup because it's just so handy. They do sound way better with a microphone, but the pickup saved the day so many times. I remember when we were playing on Dancing with the Stars and the sound engineer was like, no, I'm not taking the pickup, I'm only going to use a microphone. After the first show, he started taking the pickup as well because he just realized that, you know, you've got to have it because it's clean, right? You can always add the mic in and blend it or turn the DI off, but if you don't have it, you can't add it, right? Anyway, if this has been useful, please like and subscribe. Buy me a coffee's link below. If you're into that kind of stuff, that'd be really great. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll play you out with some more stuff. This is such a pretty instrument.